In this lesson, we're going to review the Textjoin formula. The typical use case of the Textjoin formula is to concatenate cells together using a delimiter to separate them. This is especially more efficient to use versus a manual method of concatenating cells together if you're working with a large data set and just need to concatenate them together with a common delimiter. Let's take a look at the formula in greater detail. The formula is comprised of a few things. It's comprised of a delimiter, the ignore empty, and the text1. Those are the three different syntax of this formula. The delimiter is the character that separates the text joined together. For instance, the cat could be separated as the hyphen cat with a hyphen. The ignore empty part of the syntax is another required part of the formula, and this allows you to decide whether or not you want to ignore empty cells or still join them together. Finally, you have the text1 field, and that's where you reference the text that you would like to join. There's also the option of joining multiple cells of text. Let's take a look at an example. In our example, when a car is sold, the financial analyst is supposed to create a receipt ID for the sale and input the receipt ID into the ERP system for the dealership. The receipt ID is supposed to be equal to the concatenation of the car brand, car model ID, and year of sale. Each of these characteristics are supposed to be separated by a hyphen. So we've got three different characteristics whenever there's a sale, and the financial analyst is required to hyphenate in between them and then input them into the ERP system. Now, you could do that manually, but what if you're working with a large array of data? If you're doing something with a large amount of data in Excel, you typically want to use a formula, as it's going to save you time, not only in the short run, but in the long run, if it's a process that you perform routinely. So let's take a look at the solution. As noted here, there are a couple of ways of achieving this solution as shown below. The Textjoin method achieves the desired result with the hyphen as a delimiter. The year formula is used to extract the year from the date field, because remember, we wanted to find not only the car brand and car model ID, but we also wanted to hyphen the year of sale. So as you can see in the table that we have on screen here, we've got the date of sale, and we need to extract from that the year. Once we have the year extracted, we can concatenate that with the car brand in the car brand column and the car model, which is in the car model ID column. On the other hand, a manual process could have been used for creating the receipt ID by joining the cells with an ampersand symbol and quotation mark, a hyphen, another quotation mark, and an ampersand symbol one at a time. While this seems intuitive, it's not scalable. Let's presume you had another task where you needed to join hundreds of rows of data with a common delimiter for upload to a software for record keeping. The Textjoin formula only requires the user to enter the delimiter once, while the manual method of joining cells requires it to be performed manually each and every time. So it definitely helps to use the Textjoin formula if you're working with a large amount of data. As you can see in column F of the table, we've inputted the solution using the Textjoin formula. We've got the car brand ID, a hyphen, the year, and then the car model number after the last hyphen. I'm going to go ahead and open up cell F42, and let's take a look at how the formula works. First we write Textjoin, and then we put in our delimiter. And we want the delimiter to be a hyphen, but we have to surround it with quotations in order for it to appear. The quotations don't actually appear in the end result, but for the purpose of the formula, you have to put quotation marks around the hyphen. In the next part of the formula, we put true because we don't want to consider empty cells or empty data. We only want to consider data which has values. In the third part of the formula, where it says text1, we're referencing the car brand, i.e. cell C42. Then we're inputting the reference for text2, which is the second item or criteria that we want to join. And in this case, it's the year of sale. Now, notice that in this part of the formula, we're actually nesting the year formula within the Textjoin formula because we typed in year and then we referenced cell D42 so that we could extract the year 2019 from that cell. Finally, we put in the third text that we'd like to concatenate, and that's the car model ID. That exists in cell E42. We press enter, and as we can see, the result is Volkswagen 2019 CA 143. When we copy that down, we can get the results for all of the other car sales. Now keep in mind we could have done the manual method, and the manual method achieves something very similarly. If you take a look at cell G42, we put equals cell C42 and then we use quotations around the hyphen, and year of cell D42 and quotations around hyphen, and cell E42. We press enter, it achieves the same result. That's a more manual method to achieve the same thing as the Textjoin formula, but keep in mind that's going to be a longer process if you're working with a large amount of data, and you don't get the flexibility of working with this true or false ignore empty cell condition which exists as part of the Textjoin formula. Let me go ahead and show you how the true and false statement within the Textjoin formula works. Let's delete the contents of the date of sale, and I'm going to remove the nested year formula within that example, and we're going to switch it from a true statement to a false statement. If we put in true, it's only going to show Volkswagen-CA 143. But if we were to show false, it's going to show a double hyphen. Now the reason for the double hyphen is because it's still conjoining cell D42 even though it's blank. That's not a proper way to present things in terms of how I want them presented, and therefore I would only like there to be one hyphen if the date of sale does not exist. And if that's my preference, then I would want to write true in the Textjoin formula and not false. And so as you can see, the formula updates to Volkswagen-CA 143 and doesn't have a double hyphen. Now if I were to use the manual method of just conjoining all of these cells and concatenating them with a hyphen, there's really no area for me to input that true or false. And so if I were to join the three cells together, I'm still going to get the double hyphen. And if I wanted to modify that, I'd have to look through all of the cells with blanks, modify the formula for just those ones so that it didn't consider cell D42 when there's a blank. And that would just be a very manual process for me to go through each and every one of those instances. So for that reason, Textjoin is a more powerful formula to use. And let's take a look at another example. In example number 2, a financial analyst wants to summarize which vehicle brands are sold by the dealership's sales reps. The analyst wants to have a table created that is automatically refreshed each time the ERP system's Excel export is loaded into a workbook. The Excel export from the ERP system is a sales ledger showing sales by sales rep with the fields populated with the vehicle type. So as you can see, we have a table here with the date of sale. We've got the 3 different sales reps, and it indicates that they have each sold some vehicles during 2019, and when they did have a sale, it indicates the brand type. So John Marcus has sold a BMW and a GMC. One of them was sold in March, and the GMC was sold in August. Alana has sold a few vehicles as well, and Henry has sold 3 vehicles. Now this is a very useful formula that not a lot of people know about, and it's a very unique circumstance in which you'd want to use it, in my opinion, but it has a great amount of power if you're working with a large amount of data and you need to summarize certain data like this in this instance. So here we've got a table of data. We want to summarize which sales reps have sold which vehicles. There's a sample of 9 days here, but this could have very easily been 1,000 days over a course of a few years, and there could have been multiple sales and lots of data to work with. Well, if we want to summarize the text here, we could use the Textjoin formula in order to summarize what brands were sold by what reps. So what we want to do is first we want to make a list of all of the available types of vehicles that have been sold. So we put that down in cells C85 through C92. We have a list of all the different brands of vehicles that are available for sale. And then in the column next to it, we report on which sales reps have actually made a sale of those vehicles. And we do that by using an automated formula, and we don't have to manually figure out what reps have sold which vehicles. So we can do that with the Textjoin formula. If I were to open up cell D85, I can show you how the Textjoin formula works. And it's copied down throughout this entire table so that it produces the results. And it actually separates the sales reps with a comma, which is what my preference was in this instance. For cell D85, I'm using the Textjoin formula. The delimiter I want to use is a comma and then a space after the comma when it's separated by another sales rep. So in this case, in cell D85, if we were to take a look at the result, it's Alana Wicks, comma space, John Marcus, who have sold BMWs. And the next part of the formula is that I want to ignore empty cells, so I'm going to put in true. The text 1 that I want to look up is an if statement. And my if statement is as follows. I'm doing a lookup of an array, and that's a very powerful thing that the Textjoin formula can do. It has the ability to look up array tables. So I'm looking at the array D56 through F64, which is all of the sales data throughout the year. And I'm setting that equal to BMW because if anyone has sold a BMW, I want that to report back with their name and then separate it by the comma and then space. The next part of the if statement, so that's the logical test, the next part of the if statement is return the value if true. And the value if true is the header name, i.e. the sales rep's name, and that's located in cells D55 through F55, i.e. sales reps John Marcus, Alana Wicks, or Henry Davidson. Finally, if the conditional logic is not met for the data having sales of BMW, then I don't want to return the sales reps' names. I want to return a blank. And again, if there's a blank, then I've set the Textjoin formula to not report back anything. If I press enter, I can see Alana Wicks and John Marcus are the only sellers of the BMW. And if I look up at the table, I can see that is accurate. For Mercedes, Alana is the only one who has sold a Mercedes. And if I were to copy that formula down, I can see the rest of the results. No one has reported a sale of a Jeep, which is accurate based on my review of the sales data. So this is just a great use case of the Textjoin formula. You could apply this to different circumstances that you have. And hopefully, if you've got a complex scenario where you need to summarize data like this, the next time you go to do it, you can use the Textjoin formula and it'll save you a lot of time and effort. And you won't have to do manual workarounds like pivoting data or just manually filtering and writing down people's names or certain results. Instead, the Textjoin formula will be able to help you automate it. The formula's here within this workbook so that you can just copy it into your worksheet and start using it right away. Hey guys, thanks for watching this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe from you. And if you want to learn more about Microsoft Excel, check out these videos above. And don't forget to check out our website, commercecurve.com, where we have lots of in-depth finance and accounting courses available with full training workbooks. All of our courses come with complete workbooks of lessons, examples, pre-built financial models, and training video. Hope to see you there.